I guess
Spanish Inquisition. It depends on what your point of view. Yeah. I thought I was reading about that. I thought that was a way bigger thing. Like I thought.
Yeah, not as big as you. It went on for centuries, though, right?
The Spanish Inquisition? No,
I don't think so.
I guess I'm thinking more.
I thought it was like an enormous, like huge.
Yeah, no, witch burning. Yes,
than I thought.
Like vague, random Catholic witch burnings and what is it? Heresy prosecutions, blasphemies, digging up the corpses of old popes and put them on trial. All sorts of shenanigans.
That's different though. Yeah, I watched the whole. Maybe it was. It's one of those animated history channels on YouTube.
They dug up bodies and put them on trial.
Yeah, the Pope did.
Former popes.
Is that gallant behavior, by the way? Would that be gallant?
I'd say it's gross
behavior. That's some badass shit. There's been crazy popes. One pope, they made him pope, and he went through so much money, fucking whores and doing drugs that he was broke. So he had rich buddies though, because he's the pope. So he's like, hey, give me, let's call it 20 million in today's money, and you'll be the pope. He's like, are you serious? You'll sell your popehood? Totally sell my popehood. Sold his popehood, 20 million. 2 years later, you know what? Give me the hat back. I want it again. No, for real. Give it back. Took the popehood back. At one point, he dug up the former pope, who he didn't like, obviously, put him on trial. And what I mean by that is the corpse was sat up in a chair and accused. And
the corpse had a defense lawyer, the devil's advocate.
There was a defense for the accused who smelled because he's been rotting for the last year and a half in a hole in Europe somewhere. They found him guilty, believe it or not. They threw him in the river. That Pope's body was thrown in the river.
What was he guilty of? What did they?
Who knows?
Some kind of heresy.
Some buggery.
He probably said something like Jesus was an independent person from the Holy Trinity, and that was just too much.
Yeah, I like the popes have been some of the most evil people who existed.
I bet that was like a really weird day in Vatican City, because I guarantee pretty much nobody was on board for it other than the Pope. But if the Pope is like leading the charge of it, everyone else has to be like, they're like, hey, Saint, what are you doing today? And he's like, you're not going to fucking believe this. I have to defend Pope John V. And they're like, the guy who died? He's like, yeah. And if I don't, he's going to burn me at the stake. So I'm writing arguments defending a dead guy, right? Like,
but they can't be too good arguments, because you know you need to lose.
You'd have to play into it. I would play into it. I'd be like, you're right, Pope. We got to get this shit on lock and key. We need to be safe, and let's throw him in the river.
I was just at a Vatican City, actually. This is hitting for me because I was at Vatican City like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
How was it?
Just to say sorry.
Just to say sorry.
Just to be like, just to check out what you guys are up to over here.
Seeing what the Christians
that has nothing to do with us. Actually, more to do with him, because
you said Catholic, didn't you? Who said Catholic? Didn't someone say Catholic?
Well, that's the Vatican City.
My family's Catholic, most of them, but
isn't that
really?
Catholic? Isn't that like? Isn't that like?
You're supposed to laugh.
Most Catholics. No, most Catholics.
I get baptized, by the way. I know some people
like
that
solemnly offended.
I need to frown like Drifter with my low hanging lips.
Yeah.
I mean, most Italians are like most secular Jews in that, like, they're like, yeah, we're part of it too. And they're like, really? When do you do the thing? And it's like Easter, Christmas. And I'm sure for Jews, it's like, oh, I do Yom Kippur. I do Hanukkah. Like, when do you go to temple? Never. Do you ever go to temple, Harley?
Yeah, here and there. Like, when I mean here and there, I mean like once or twice every 5 years. And like, you can't drive on high holidays. So like the amount of times I've gone, because my grandfather's there, and it's like a 6-hour thing, and I park like a 10-minute walk away, and then I walk up and I hang out in the back. And like, I see my grandfather after, and I'm like, fuck. Like, I only go for like the last 30 minutes when he's walking out. I'm like, it was a long one today. Yeah, and then I'm like, gotta walk all the way home now. He's like, yeah, I'll see you later. And I'm like, bye. And then I like walk 10 minutes to my car and drive home.
Wow.
But like, and then it's like, so like, yeah, I'm here because it's important. And that's like really what religion is to me, is that like, it's important to him, and like the family gets together here. But I like the rules of it. I would never impose that on someone else or on myself. Like, would you if you had a friend who was Muslim and they were like, oh, come to a mosque with me and face Mecca and I don't, excuse my ignorance, go on the rug, the carpet thing and the prayer rug and do the ritual with me today. Like, would you do that? I mean, I have friends that I know people that would.
I don't think they'd want me to do that. I think they'd see that. They'd probably see that as cheapening their religion.
Let's say a Jew asked you to put on.
You do that.
If a Jew asked you to put on tefillin, let's say, which also a Jew wouldn't do, but then again,
I'll do whatever a Jew wants me to do. Yeah,
you have no choice, buddy, because you know what we'll do to your bank account.
I don't want any more trouble out of y'all.
Get that right down.
Y'all sucked it to me pretty good about 4 years ago.
FPSRussia passed me in subs, and I got him in jail.
Leave me alone, you and your friends.
Dude,
Kyle,
you got off light, Kyle.
Kyle, did you see the public freakout video where there was a crazy person with a big sign protesting something about Jews control the world? And this dude legit walked up to him and said, "Excuse me, sir, I'm Jewish and I own this and you can't be here." And he's like, "Yeah, I figured." So it's like, "Yeah, the Jews don't own this thing over here. You can go over there." And he's like, "All right, thanks for the heads up."
Yeah,
and he walks away.
Over. The guy's like, "Jews control everything." And this guy comes over. He's like, just like a chubby. He's like, "You gotta go. You gotta go." He's like, "Who the fuck are you?" He's like, "I'm Jewish. I control everything. You can't be here." He's like, "Yeah, I can." He's like, "You can't. I'm Jewish. I control everything." And the guy walks away and he looks at the camera. He's like, "So there you have it. I'm Jewish. I control everything." And he's just like some dude.
Oh God.
He didn't even own the property. He's
not even
He looked
Jewish.
like he could have been. He looked like he could have been.
The Catholic and Jewish version of religions sound a lot more fun than Southern Baptists. For Southern Baptists, it was not just at least for me, not just a cultural thing you do a couple times a year and celebrate Christmas. It was you go to church 3 days a week, you pray before every meal all the time. God is real. God is watching you. He's keeping a log of every single thing you do. You make one mistake, you go to hell. Demons live just behind the walls. They're going to come get you
yeah. Oh, I remember.
Yeah, good times. Good times.
Yeah. I like most of my family's Catholic, but my immediate family didn't go Catholic. They were regular Protestant or whatever. And yeah, they don't hit the stuff as hard as the Baptists, but they're definitely big on hell, big on sin. Don't do that. Feel bad.
I think it's important too. Look, if God's real, they've got then the people who believe in a hell and like bad, it's I know some people, sorry Harley, don't really believe in a hell and their religion, but I feel like there's got to be some comeuppance. There's got to be, right? Or then
if there's a really good place, there's got to be a really bad place, probably.
If there's no comeuppance for doing the wrong thing, then why would I do his right thing? Because I just don't get it. If we're all going to the gold fucking streets and the clouds or whatever the fuck and the paradise, then why shouldn't I be out for me until the last 5 minutes?
That's probably what a lot of Jews started thinking, and other Jews were like, "Yeah, we got to switch the system up. We got to come up with a new story because these people are. I don't know what to tell them. We got to figure out something. We got to switch the system up a little bit."
But if you told me that God was real and He wants me to live this humble life where I'm trying to make others happy and live for and glory to His name or whatever, and blood of the Lamb, such and such, then I'd get right on board with that if I thought He was real, though. I could see doing all sorts of violent things in His name. If there was a real God and He told you there were some bad guys you needed to go get, tell me you wouldn't go get them.
But wait, but what's the two things?
Yeah.
In that sense, then it's just we're the heaven waiting room. We create us, and put us in the waiting room, and if it's all about heaven, this is we short. And I'm being tested, but you made me, so you did this. We did this. This is a collaborative thing. Why'd you make my brain this way and kill my parents and expect me to follow the rules? You did all this, and also if they're if he was you gotta kill these people, I'm like, who are they? I'm just tired. I'm tired of being pointed at others and being that's them and it's their fault that anything's not good right now.
Then he looks over at me and he says, "See, Kyle, that's how they are. Get it? That's why they can't be with
all
us,
these
Kyle.
Jewish goblins come from the underground and they're like, yeah.
You realize that
come, hurry.
You realize that Kyle had begged God to give you and your people one last chance, and you had just spoiled it.
And I was like, how much it gonna cost? I said before the sorry, I was go ahead. I was going to talk about Islam again, so like it's not important to you.
I guess I'm kind of bordering on that because their whole thing is like they're like, hey, God hates these people and what they're doing. They got to go. Like that's his thing. He told Abraham, and he told this guy, and now that's what we do. We kill them when they don't do that. When they do that thing they're doing over there, and they're out to get us. And it's, with us or they're dead. That's how it is. Man, if you believe that, it's time to get a fucking vest, right? Like it's time to go, right? If there was a real God who was telling me that some people had to go, it's like, all right, how do I do it? What do you want me to do?
Yeah, if you believe it's God, that's why so many people do things like that when God tells them. Because like, if you really believe in that God tells you to do something, like people tend to do it.
See, if a true believer like that just becomes schizophrenic or loses their mind in some way where they're hearing a voice and they have this strong belief in a God already, and now the voice, because of their mental illness, is taking that role on and is saying, hey, God here, the guy you've been learning about and worshiping your whole life, do I have some shit for you to do? Oh, did your girlfriend do clown makeup?
But is God?
That's what God said.
Apologies.
Yeah.
I'm roasting in here. It's like 80 degrees, and that is not an easy wig to be in.
Sorry, this is latex paint.
I think it's scarier with your natural hair.
Everything's been getting crazier.
The juxtaposition between normal hair
and the headset too.
Yeah. Well, this is coincidental. I just got this in the mail because I'm sponsored by Logitech, and the only color they had is white.
Oh, they make
it looks good.
Thank you.
The long hair. It's like if you dyed that green.
Yeah, they love white on PKA. Looks great.
We like it to pop.
I was saying, like, even if you didn't go into a mosque or something, but if you had a buddy and he was like, "Dude, I'm doing the daily prayer. Yeah, I'd love if you join me." And like, maybe that's not really Muslim of him to have someone, an infidel like yourself.
Yes.
But like, would you do that? Because I know lots of people like would not, or someone, if a guy was like, you know what, let me baptize you. I'd love to baptize you. I know a lot of people that would be like, absolutely,
that's a big deal.
Not. And then it's like, it's interesting because like the people that like are really not Catholic or Christian or whatever, they're so not about it. Like, because I don't believe in that stuff. No, do not touch me with that water, motherfucker. Don't even bring it. And it's like funny because it's like, you don't even, you're going to get baptized. You scared? But I thought there's not, but I thought, I thought it's just silly. Yeah, it's just water. No, it's not, but like for some people.
What water means though, like for those who don't know and fast forward, like it's, you're taking on the new covenant with God and Christ. You're saying that no longer am I part of the Old Testament where we must sacrifice animals to get rid of our sins. Jesus Christ is my savior. I wash myself of my sins here and now and forever because he is my Lord and Savior, and through him I will be clean. You're making a big decision right then and there and making a statement
for sure,
public in front of the whole
congregation. If someone who is like, oh, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in all that, and another person was like, oh, cool, will you do me the favor and let me baptize you? I'm sure a lot of those people are making this all up, but I'm sure a lot of the people would be like, oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And it's let me just put a little bit of, right? I would assume, because why not? Logically, if you don't care, why wouldn't you let it? But it's still a lot of weight to the prayers. Like doing like, if you put on like tefillin, like the Jewish like leather thing, or you did like that Islamic prayer, and it wasn't something that you grew up doing or committed to doing, and you were just like doing it as a thing for your buddy, it has like some weight to it. And that just comes from a person who's not like that. And maybe it's just because I walked around all these like cathedrals and churches like in Italy and stuff that are like so crazy and magnificent. But I was just thinking about like how just we've been with religion and all that. And I'm like, I'm not a religious guy. There's a lot of weight to doing that stuff. If you went down and like literally were on your knees and did the whole thing.
This is where Woody and I really disagree because
he's not here. He's a bitch, though, right? Admit it. Taylor wouldn't admit it before. Say it.
Oh my God!
I'm filling in the role of Woody today.
I'm kidding.
I can be your Woody.
With the demons and stuff. When I don't know. We'll find a story about demon worship or something, and Woody's like, "Sign me up. It's just gobbledygook," and it's like, ooh, the same way that if Taylor found out he was going to be dead in 6 months, he'd be fucking doing mission work and praying to the Lord. I will not look. I don't believe, but I don't disbelieve so thoroughly that I'm going to take any risks with demons. Okay,
Wise choice.
I'm not
Very
so
wise choice.
sure that I'm sure enough that there is no God that I ain't going to church and I'm not going to talk to him unless it's a code red emergency. But I believe in demons enough that I'm not going to like offer my soul to them. And like I'll tell you what, I would say it here joking, like, take my soul, Dark Lord. But what I wouldn't do is like if someone sent me an old book with some Latin in it, I wouldn't be reciting.
Like sign it in blood.
They're like cut your name here, and write in your own blood on this page out of a Orthodox Bible that, you know, this and that and the other, and then take this stamp and rub the blood on it and put it there. Like, nah, man, I'm not. Nah, yeah. I don't think so. I don't think I do any of that. I've seen this movie before.
Like, if I buy in that this is real, then I'm already buying into playing for the side that is going to lose. Yeah. Like, why would you?
Oh, no, that I don't believe. So I think that God like lied to us. I like this theory too. This is what I hope happened. I hope that Satan, or the Morning Star, as I prefer to call him, was the good guy, that he wanted mankind to have all of the abilities of the angels, but also the falsehood that man has. He wanted us to be because maybe like what God is half what we are and half what an angel is, and he split his grace and made two different beings that he could lord over. And so if the angels would come down, if it turned out that Satan wanted to give us that power and he was the good guy and that God was the bad guy and the whole Bible and Christian religion are propaganda, and the devil's like, no, read the truth, my son, and like showed us the truth. That's the movie I want. That's the reality I want.
But that's in the Bible. I bet the devil's basically sick. That's the Bible. Like, because okay, so Bible study background, whatever. Satan tempts Eve not with the fruit of life, but with the fruit of knowledge. There's two trees in the garden. The first is the fruit of knowledge, and the second is the fruit of life. They give her the fruit of knowledge, and then she immediately realizes, I want the fruit of life. And as she is going toward it with Adam, I believe one of the angels or God say, we absolutely must stop them from eating from the tree of life, or they will be immortal like us, or something like that. So there is an element of that very much so in the Bible. And even earlier in like different translations and stuff, Satan, the word Satan primarily meant adversary. He was sort of a devil's advocate in God's court. It was his job that God gave him specifically to tempt people to test them.
So imagine the afterlife, and it's just like a character create screen, and you're choosing like Horde or Alliance. It's like heaven and hell. You're like, what's going on though? Like, what's going on there?
Damn, hell's got some really cool Hugo Boss suits.
I was really hoping you were going to say
Michael the Archangel, and he's like, honestly, man, it's like pretty similar in a lot of ways. And you're like, what do you mean? He's just like, it's like the same.
I think that Satan probably did it out of jealousy, where he was created and
to serve.
One of his main, he was created to serve. All the angels were, and he pridefully believed, it was jealous that the Lord then made humans, because he thought, you've already perfected creation with us. We're more impressive in every way than these beings. But they betrayed God and said, no, we're not going to follow you. And so he leaned into the humans. And so the way that Satan strikes back against God is by corrupting that which God cares most for, which is
humans. The second movie, Satan Strikes Back.
Satan Strikes Back.
Yeah, it's a trilogy.
That's pretty much accurate. That's how that works. Satan fucks with us just to fuck with God, at least according to most theology.
It's the way he can undermine what God cares about, which
that's why, honestly, like at the end
Return of the Magi,
end of the Torah, they're like, people aren't buying this shit anymore. The story's great. They love the story, but we need a hero and a villain.
Yeah,
we're gonna need a hero and a villain for part 2 here.
Well, I mean, you got a great villain in Satan, the ultimate villain. Like, and you're not going to knock Satan out in the first.
Well, that's
movie.
why I'm Jewish, but like, I don't know, that shit you guys got going on is pretty sick. Like, I became a G.I. Joe collector because I loved Cobra. you
Yeah.
know. And I'm like, Satan's like
Cobra.
fucking sick cobra. Like angels are pretty cool too, though. Archangels, they have like
Have you met the
sword and
devil in
wings.
Baldur's
Yeah,
Gate
cool.
yet?
No, I haven't, but I will try and fuck
Ah.
him.
He does not
Good luck.
interested in that, I don't think. But he's pretty slick with the.
That's
with his
all. That's
tongue.
not on brand. It seems like he'd be all about that.
I think his name is Raphael. He'll appear over and over and kind of be a bit adversarial. He really does seem like the Christian devil, though. He sort of tempts you and
Yeah.
takes you to
Well,
a
that's definitely the
paradise.
most common devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's
like
the biggest
that.
religion, so that makes
Which
sense.
is based
I like
on
the-
Hades, kind of.
Yeah, based on
Did you guys play the game Dante's Inferno? It was kind of like a
God of War clone, kind of.
Yeah, it was like
back
a
in the
God of
day.
War
No,
clone, but it
never
was
played
really
that.
good. I thought it was amazing that you get to cleanse or murder unbaptized babies. They're like one of the key enemies. But you fight Satan as the final boss, and he's like 12 foot tall, and he's got this monster like 12-inch dong that's like flopping around in your character's face for the whole fight. It's
And
Have you
he
seen the
has to
movie?
he has to be offensive even as he fights. That's
Yes.
Satan's.
Seen
MO.
what
Have you seen the movie
You have to
Dante's
beat him in a
Inferno?
rock off.
I think
yes,
I did see
I think
Dante's
so.
Inferno.
So there's an animated movie from 2010, I think, called Dante's Inferno.
This is made from
Very
the same
good.
game, by the way. I think this is connected,
Yeah.
by the way. I think
It
they're
is. It is.
connected.
It was a promo for the game.
Yeah. And it is sick. And that's why the game is like that story too. It's cool.
The book is
Yeah.
good too. If you want to read the book, don't read Purgatorio or Paradiso. They're boring.